now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade J.J. Williams, and we're going to wrap up this week of musicals with the 2002 film Chicago, starring Renée Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Richard Gere, Queen Latifah, John C. Reilly, Taye Diggs, Lucy Liu, and Maya Harrison. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today we're going to wrap up this week of musicals with the Renée Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Richard Gere-led Chicago. And our movie opens in 1924 as chorus girl Roxy Hart watches Velma Kelly, the show lead, perform at the Onyx Theater in Chicago, Illinois. Seeking stardom, Roxy begins an affair with furniture salesman Fred Casely, who claims to know the theater manager. After the show, Velma is arrested for killing her husband as well as her sister Veronica after catching them in bed together. 1 month later, Casely admits to Roxy that he lied to her in order to sleep with her. Enraged by this development, Roxy shoots him dead. She then convinces her gullible husband, Amos, to take the blame by telling him that she killed a burglar in self-defense. As Amos confesses, Roxy fantasizes a musical number devoted to her husband. However, when the detective brings up evidence of Roxy's affair with Casely, Amos recants, causing Roxy to furiously admit the truth and is therefore arrested. Ambitious district attorney Martin Harrison announces then that he will seek the death penalty. At the Cook County Jail, Roxy is sent to Murderess's Row, which is supervised by the corrupt matron Mama Morton. Roxy meets her idol Velma, but her friendship is rudely rebuffed. She then learns the backstories of all the other women there, including Velma's. On Morton's advice, Roxy engages Velma's lawyer, the brilliant Billy Flynn. Flynn and Roxy are able to manipulate the press and reinvent Roxy as an originally virtuous Southern woman who was corrupted by the fast life of the city. Roxy claims that she had the affair with Casely because Amos was always working, but repented and left Casely for Amos, and Casey jealously attacked her. The press believes the story, and Roxy is praised by the public as a tragic heroine, therefore becoming an overnight sensation. Velma, who is now unhappy at losing the public's attention, tries to convince Roxy to join her acts, replacing the sister that she murdered. But Roxy, now the more popular of the two rivals, snubs her, just as Velma had originally done to her. Meanwhile, wealthy heiress, go to hell Kitty Baxter, is arrested for murdering her husband as well as his two mistresses, causing the press and Flynn to focus more on her. To Velma's surprise, Roxy is able to quickly steal back the fame by claiming pregnancy. Amos, meanwhile, is constantly ignored by the press, as well as Billy Flynn. So, in order to create more sympathy for Roxy, Flynn convinces Amos that the child is Casely's, and that he should divorce Roxy in the middle of the predicament. Roxy overconfidently then fires Flynn, believing that she can now win her case on her own. However, when Katalin Helinski, a Hungarian woman on Murderess's Row, becomes the first woman in Cook County history to be hung, Roxy realizes the gravity of the situation and rehires Flynn. Roxy's trial begins, and Billy turns it into a media spectacle with the help of the sensationalist newspaper reporters and radio personality Mary Sunshine. Billy discredits witnesses, manipulates evidence, and even stages a public reconciliation between Amos and Roxy when he claims that the child actually belongs to Amos. The trial seems to be going well for Roxy until Velma appears with Roxy's diary, reading incriminating entries in exchange for amnesty in her own case. Billy then discredits the diary, implying that Harrison was the one who planted the evidence. Roxy is acquitted, But her fame is eclipsed just moments later when another woman who had also shot her husband shoots her lawyer just outside the courthouse. Flynn tells Roxy to accept it and admits that he tampered with the diary himself in order to incriminate the DA and also free two clients simultaneously. Amos remains loyal and is excited to be a father, but Roxy cruelly reveals that her pregnancy is false, causing him to finally leave her. Roxy becomes a vaudeville performer, but is very unsuccessful, and the similarly unsuccessful Velma reapproaches Roxy, suggesting that they perform together as a double act consisting of two murderers. Roxy initially refuses, but later accepts when Velma points out that they can perform with each other despite their mutual resentment. The two then stage a spectacular performance that earns them praise for the audience and the press. Roxy and Velma receive a standing ovation from an enthusiastic audience, which includes Billy Flynn, Mama Morton, the jurors, and other acquitted murderesses, and they proclaim to the audience that we couldn't have done it without you, as our movie comes to its close. Out of the movies that I reviewed this week, this one was definitely my favorite. It was more my style, it was more my liking. You had the period pieces because everything was set in the 20s, so you had the nice sharp suits, you had the cars and everything, you had the flapper style dresses, etc. You had the music was phenomenal, and you had legitimate acting. Yes, it was a musical. Yes, there was a multitude of songs, fantastic songs performed throughout the show, the movie. But there was also acting, dialogue, story-driven scenes to lead up to said songs. That way the songs then become more impactful, putting the exclamation on the scene that just occurred. So much better. And in all honesty, the character I loved the most wasn't Renée Zellweger as Roxy. It wasn't Catherine Zeta-Jones as Velma. It wasn't Richard Gere as Billy Flynn. It was John C. Reilly as Amos, Roxy's husband. You feel so bad for him throughout the entire point of the movie. Roxy is so abusive to him. You know, you figure she starts out the movie cheating on him. Then she tries to frame him for the murder, which he's willing to go along with until he discovers the affair. Then he finds out that she's pregnant, supposedly, and he's willing to jump back into things and be this father figure. Then he finds out that it's a lie. You know, nobody seems to notice him. He's got, honestly, one of the best songs in the movie, Mr. Cellophane. I just adored John C. Reilly's performance in this flick. I don't think it gets talked about near enough in comparison to the three leads and Queen Latifah. I feel like John C. Reilly was the MVP of this movie. Personally, I adored it. Like I said, some of the other songs, you know, Cell Block Tango, all that jazz. There were some other really good ones throughout the movie, but this was just leaps and bounds better than either of the other two I talked about this week. And it's with that in mind that when it comes to my rating for Chicago, I give Chicago 3 out of 5 stars. Right there in the middle of the pack. No halves, nothing like that. Just a solid 3 stars. I would be willing to sit down and rewatch Chicago again without a whole lot of wheeling and dealing negotiating. I enjoyed it that much. What do you guys think of Chicago? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And it's new release Saturday. We're going to be taking a look at the Disney Plus original documentary, Idina Menzel, Which Way to the Stage. Obviously, it's going to be starring Idina Menzel. I haven't watched it as of this filming, so I don't know who else appears in the documentary along with her. I would assume that her husband, Aaron Lore, will be part of it. I would assume some of the other people she's performed with over the years, whether it's Rent, Wicked, Frozen, whatever, will be in this. But it supposedly chronicles her journey to a headline concert at Madison Square Garden in her home of New York City. Should be a lot of fun to check that one out. And then later that evening, both here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, it'll be time once again to open the doors for open mic night. Myself, the Simple Man Noah Foster, the Heeb Man James Hebert, and whoever else decides to come inside, step up to the microphone, and discuss the week in professional wrestling, as we do, as we always do, each and every Saturday night, 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 Eastern. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, new release Saturday, Idina Menzel, Which Way to the Stage, open mic night, and so much more as we begin to wind things down here. It's musical month on the Casa D18 Studios channel. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. Again, so much good stuff coming up here in the next week and the rest of this month. You don't want to miss out. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.